But yeah, so we did get a donation to check out this video here. I'm not exactly sure why they wanted me to check this out. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Randall. This is the McClures. We react, review, we make fun of, we laugh at stuff over here. Links in the description if you want to help support the channel. We do accept donations, or you can just buy you something nice. www.mcclures.store. We sell good stuff. Go check it out. This reaction is requested by one of my subscribers or somebody in the comments. I don't actually know if they're a subscriber or not, but they did reach out on my email and want me to react to this. They also sent over a donation, so I really appreciate that. That's why we're bumping it up to the top of the list and getting to it first thing. I'm not exactly sure why they wanted me to listen to this, but I will give my honest opinion on it. Most people probably won't like it. Or I don't know. Actually, I think majority of people agree with my opinion on stuff. Most people just won't admit to it. But I assume that this person is a transgendered person that emailed me this. Their first question they asked me on the email was if I would date a transgendered person. Which obviously you guys all know I'm married, so we responded, well, if I wasn't married in this hypothetical situation, the answer would be no. You don't date somebody who's pretending to be something that they're not. And they responded with, you know, I didn't say that transgender were pretending to be things that they weren't. Which I know, that's what I said. But they did ask me to respond to this. They sent me a couple other links, stuff to check out as well. But this is the last request that they sent, and they donated to get this one watched. So we're definitely going to check this one out. Hard no, sorry. What? All right, I don't know what the fuck Amik is talking about in the chat. But I do appreciate you sharing my stuff. Hopefully that does help spread it around. But yeah, so we're going to get into this. This is Laverne Cox on efforts to curb transgender healthcare. You can't make us not exist is the name of the quote. Now, I don't know who Laverne Cox is. When I loaded up the thing, it did look like the dude that's on... Is it Orange is the New Black? I think it's Orange is the New Black. So there's a transgender actor on that show, and I think this is the person that is doing the interview. But yeah, I'm glad we're not on YouTube. We definitely can't have this conversation on YouTube. So let's get into it. Let's see what they're talking about here.
Into being a red carpet hostess, I'm also an actress. Okay. And as you see, I look good in blue. So yeah, like my agent, you know, yeah.
Self-promotion.
Hi.
I respect it.
You're hilarious. Laverne Cox hosting red carpet coverage at the Golden Globes Awards. Did you have fun?
I had a blast.
So much fun.
And I hope James Cameron calls me for the next Avatar.
James Cameron, if you're watching. All right. Laverne taking the opportunity, of course, to advocate for a role in the upcoming Avatar, which I would have done the same
He's
thing.
making a whole bunch more.
You have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah. I look great blue.
Laverne, it's called knowing your value. You got to know your value and communicate it effectively. She is no stranger to breaking glass ceilings for over a decade. She's broken barriers for transgender actors in film and television. As a star on the award-winning show Orange is the New Black, Cox was able to showcase her range while putting a spotlight on transgender issues. She's also taken her talents to the red carpet, hosting E! News, Golden Globes coverage. In addition, she has focused her celebrity on the issues, becoming a leading activist for transgender people in America at a time where nearly a dozen states are looking to strip health care access from thousands of people. And the actress and advocate joins us now. It's good to see you.
It's good to be here. It's good to see all of you.
Good morning,
Thank
Laverne.
you for
Before they even get into it, I like that the news lady didn't tell everybody they're restricting access for minors. Not for adults. You can do whatever the fuck you want as an adult. All these states are restricting access for minors.
for having me.
So I'm curious about your advocacy, and like, when for you did your struggle lead to success and learning to advocate for yourself? Because now you do it so well for others.
The first protest I went to was in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50 years old. A trans woman named Amanda Milan had been murdered here in New York. And I remember that was the first sort of protest and vigil I went to. And so my entire life, adult life, I've been advocating. I remember when we were trying to get human rights protections for trans folks here in New York City in the early 2000s. I was at City Hall testifying. So going to Albany. So it's been a
What do you mean human rights protections for trans? What the fuck does that mean? There's no right that a trans needs that... I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about here.
Part of my life before I was well known. It continues to be a part of my life, and I'm exhausted, and trans people are exhausted.
Yeah.
But right now, there's just a lot going on. And what really has called me to course is this latest bill from Oklahoma that would ban gender affirming care up until the age of 26. For years, we've been hearing from anti-trans pundits and politicians that this is about children. This is about protecting the children. But I think what this Oklahoma law reveals is that it's never been about the children. It's always been about scapegoating trans people, stigmatizing us, and criminalizing our existence, making us not exist. And we have pundits.
Now, I didn't know about the Oklahoma law pushing it till age 26. You know, like they showed in the beginning, 12 states trying to enact bills. Apparently, Oklahoma is pushing it farther than any other bill. But it seems to me they're just pushing it to a point where people are fully developed. Your brain does not fully develop until 25. So I would assume that the Oklahoma law is using that medical fact when basing their law.
Anti-trans pundits and politicians on television every single day saying horrible things about trans people, on the internet saying horrible things about trans people, things that are leading to bomb threats at the Boston Children's Hospital. Chaya Raichik, the founder of Libs of TikTok, took credit for that bomb threat, and also boasted proudly on Tucker Carlson that she has communicated with Ron DeSantis' administration, and that her work, her anti-trans propaganda work, led directly to the Don't Say Gay bill. So the way we talk about trans people and with trans people in the media hasn't.
All right, some more propaganda. They're still leading with the Don't Say Gay bill. There's no bill that says you're not allowed to say the word gay. There's a bill that tells teachers not to talk to their 7-year-olds about who they're fucking on the weekend. Like, the fact that they spin and twist this shit so much is crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
An effect on these policies. A lot of the ways in which we're seeing trans people be talked about on the internet and the news, those exact ways are finding that language is finding its way into legislation. So I wanted to come on
you mean
today
the language you just made up?
all those people who
That's not in there?
have the best of intentions and want to support trans people, don't know the right language, don't know how to talk about it, or scared to say the wrong thing. We need the right language to combat this. Anti-trans folks have been setting the agenda and how we talk about this, and we need to take back the narrative, and we need to do it right away, because it is, January 19th, and there have already been 151 bills targeting trans and LGBTQ people introduced in state legislatures Just this year alone, 151. It's January 19th.
Wow. So if you want to sort of if you have to get an education to some of these folks who are using the wrong language and saying the wrong things, what would it be?
And I'm not language police. First of all, I'm not into censoring people.
But it's for understanding.
But if we are interested in the humanity of trans people and understanding that we exist, what I would first of all say to all the people, there's so many wonderful pundits and politicians who say, well, gender affirming care for children, that's something that we should debate, right? Children don't know. And I would actually disagree. I would actually say, hashtag, it's none of your business. If you are a parent with a trans child, it is your business. I think the American Medical Association, the American Academy for Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society have developed wonderful protocols that have worked for treating trans children.
Yeah, except for all these medical organizations are all on the same liberal train of doing this affirming care bullshit where we're supposed to listen to children. If a 5-year-old comes up and tells you that he's not a boy and he's a girl, you're just supposed to go along with it and buy him a dress and get him a Barbie and then stop his dick from growing. And no, this is psycho. This is psychotic. If your 6-year-old comes to you with some bullshit, you can tell your 6-year-old that they're retarded because they're 6. 6-year-olds are dumb. Okay? If he feels the same way at 9, again at 9, you can still tell him he's dumb because he doesn't know shit. He's a child. Crazy. Absolutely.
And parents
crazy
who are dealing with that can go and get that information. If you're a parent of a trans child, it's your business. If you're not, it's none of your business. What adults do with their bodies is none of their business. This is America. It should be about freedom, bodily autonomy. I'm firmly and staunchly pro-choice, and we should have the right to do with our bodies what we want to in America. And even for children, that's their parents' business, it's their doctor's business. It is not a legislator's business who doesn't know anything about it. So what I would suggest, because whenever we're debating whether trans folks should have access to health care, we're objectifying them. When we see senators in Supreme Court confirmations talking about mutilating children, we're objectifying children, talking about children's genitalia, which is disgusting. And when we objectify, we dehumanize. And that is what this whole project has been about. Not making trans people real people, human beings who exist. I exist. There's no trans question. I'm not a question. I exist here. I have a material reality, lived experiences, and trans people have always existed. And we're not going to stop existing if people don't teach about it.
What is this argument?
So we should have acceptance.
Nobody thinks you don't exist.
If we're discriminated against in healthcare, in employment, in housing, which many of these people want to do. That is our business if we believe in liberty and justice for all Americans. But what people do with their bodies is none of our business.
Laverne, you said something really important, that we have always existed. And because of your example and your advocacy, young people now grappling with these questions about their identity have someone to look to.
Yes.
When you and I were growing up, we're around the same age. We didn't have that.
No.
We didn't have people to look up to. So I'm curious for you what it was like growing up in Alabama.
Yeah, because there wasn't cross-dressers before.
Not have these examples?
There's never been trannies before.
I mean, there were
RuPaul's
suicide attempts.
not like
there was a tremendous amount of
70 years
shame.
old.
I was bullied every single day. I was chased home from school. I was beaten up multiple times. There were no trans people on television, and what I did see was deeply disparaging. I didn't want to be trans. I did everything I could not to be trans. But I'm trans anyway. I grew up in an environment where there was no education about trans people, yet I was still trans, and yet I found my way. Media stopping education about trans people doesn't stop us from being trans. And I know, because I'm 50 years old and I know my history, that trans people have always, at various ages, have gotten access to gender-affirming health care, but they've gotten it on the street. They haven't gone to a doctor to get blood work. They haven't been able to do it in a healthy way. Just like with abortion, people will have abortions. Will they do it and be able to do it in a healthy way?
Right.
Becomes the question.
You're connecting it to women's health, which is what I prefer to call abortion, because it's a woman's choice.
Absolutely.
One form of health care, part of the medical care for women. It's the same issue. It's limiting what doctors can provide to individuals.
Okay. This is even stupider. The trans trying to tie their argument to women's rights is the dumbest shit ever. You have a dick. You're not going for women's rights. You're going for penis rights, okay? And then this crazy bitch right here, talking about killing children, is women's health care? What? Name me one medical condition where you have to murder the child to save the mom. Just one. Just one. Pretty sure if the mom has a medical issue after 24 weeks, you could just deliver the baby. You don't have to pull it apart in a vacuum and then throw it away in a dumpster. You can deliver the baby. So this whole healthcare for women and abortion is stupid. Tying abortion to gender affirming care is completely ridiculous. Not even close to the same thing. And the right for a dude to cut off his dick is not women's rights, dude. This is not women's rights.
Individuals who have made a choice.
It's even
Crazy.
referrals. So in Arkansas, as well as this new law in Oklahoma, if you refer someone for gender affirming care, that can become a felony now, just to refer someone. So they don't want trans people to exist. That is really what this whole project is about. And you can't make us not exist. That just doesn't work. And I also want to, and this feels hyperbolic, but I thought a lot about it. And there's been a rise in anti-Semitism all over the country right now, and it's disgusting and it's horrible. People should know that one of the first things that the Nazis did, and I think it was in 1933, was they burned Magnus Hirschfeld's gender for sexuality. Magnus Hirschfeld was studying trans people, LGBTQ people. Lily Elby, who the Danish Girl, the film The Danish Girl was about, she had her first gender affirming procedure at Magnus Hirschfeld's clinic. The Nazis burned it down. All of this research. And there were LGBTQ people in concentration camps stamped with pink triangles. So in this moment of a rise of anti-Semitism, we see this rise, this documented rise in anti-trans legislation and rhetoric.
Gotcha.
These are not a coincidence. So
trans rights are women's rights. They're equivalent to abortion rights. They're human being rights. And now it's equivalent to Nazis and anti-Semitism. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? What is this dude running his mouth about, bro? This is crazy.
As we fight anti-Semitism, as we fight for reproductive rights, we have to fight for trans rights as well. And they're on TV every day. We need to be more vociferous. We need to be more engaged in this. And I know trans people are a small part of the population, but it is not unrelated to everything else that is happening.
Yeah.
This is about justice and bodily autonomy for everybody. It's about freedom. We're Americans.
Yeah.
We should be about freedom.
You've done a good job making the connection for sure. And just before you go, what's next in your career? Just really quick.
Oh my gosh, I'm shooting a show produced by Norman Lear called Clean Slate. We're shooting that later this year. It's the first show that I'm producing, that scripted show that I'm producing. I'm continuing to host the red carpet for Grammys and Oscars.
A nod to James Cameron. Laverne exists right here.
Gosh, yeah, there's a lot. My podcast is coming back on the Laverne Cox Show. Yeah, she's busy.
Okay, Laverne Cox. Thank you very much for coming on this morning.
Thanks,
we appreciate you. We'll be right back with much more Morning Joe.
All right, so I don't know why the person donated for me to watch that. I don't know what I was supposed to learn from that, because that was all some talking point bullshit, made up crap. No one's trying to say that trans people don't exist. Nobody gives a fuck if you exist or not. The point is, we would like to live our lives without worrying about it. And we don't want you grooming children. So the whole Don't Say Gay bill, which wasn't a Don't Say Gay bill, pretty common sense. You don't need to tell your first grade class about who you banged on the weekend. Like, this isn't rocket science here. This isn't rocket science. Just think back when you were a kid. Did you even know if your teacher was married? Unless they wore a ring? Like, you didn't know anything. As far as you knew, your teacher never left the school. Like they just lived in the basement and shit. Like they weren't even real people. And now they're supposed to be your best friend. And they're supposed to teach you about life and give you examples. And no, they're supposed to do reading, writing, and arithmetic. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Parents are there to raise children. Basically, the left's argument, though, is parents aren't adequate to raise children. People are too stupid, so we need government to raise children. Parents can't do it. They're not capable. They make the wrong decisions. Who makes the right decisions is delusional people who don't know what body they belong in. That's who knows what's up. So we should listen to them. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I do appreciate you sending the donation for the request, though, for real. Donation keeps the channel growing and going. So anybody else, if you would like me to watch your stuff or react to a specific video, let me know. Shoot me a comment. Let me know. We put everything on the list. We do get to the list on Fridays. But of course, if you want to get to it right away, like this person, you can send over a donation and we will get to it first thing. Links are in the description if you want to support the channel. Live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3:30 to 5:30 on Rumble. Come hang out. I appreciate it. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, the whole trans debate is weird. The gay debate is weird. Because they try to say you're homophobic or trans. No one's scared of gay people or scared of trannies, dude. We don't have a fear of trannies. What we have a fear of is you teaching children incorrectly. They're like, well, you have to let them know that this exists. No, that's confusing to a child. Dudes walking around with lipstick on and dresses is confusing to a child. Do we get it, people? They don't have the fucking brain power to comprehend the lunacy of the reality that you live in. Most full-grown, mature adults cannot keep up with your logic train on how you get through the fucking day. So I don't know how you expect a 6-year-old to understand what it is you're fucking talking about. Leave the kids alone. You said it, Amik. That's what it is, though. Leave the kids alone. Now, if you had a date with a girl and she whips out a cock on you, that could be a scary situation. That could be a scary situation. And I'm pretty sure that is what leads to the majority of trans deaths. Waiting too long to whip out that cock and letting people know that cock is there. Yeah. Just because you think you're a girl doesn't mean the guy's not going to think he's gay for wanting to do anything with you. Because you're a dude. And if a straight dude wants to play with a girl's dick, he's not a straight dude. This isn't fucking rocket science. This is not fucking rocket science, people.